This lesson is going to be teaching you how to take those black and white body CAD manipulation CADs designs that you've done and to take them and to turn them into color CADs that are both filled with pattern and solid color, as well as heather and a fabric scan texture from the internet. So we're going to have a couple different layers to this project with a few different tutorials, but at the end of the day, your project at the end of this is called the Body CAD Manipulation Color CAD project, and your finished artboard is going to look something like this. It'll be your designs, so you can lay it out similar to what I have, but pretty much your CADs are going to be laid out side by side in what's called a stacked layout format. This is often the way we can squeeze in more CADs onto a page by stacking them and overlapping them one over the other. As you can see here for the top and the bottom, I did that. It's called a staggered layout, not a stacked layout. And the staggered layout allows you to maximize the space on your artboard and lay out your CADs accordingly. You're also going to have a header here. You can see here your name at the bottom. And then instead of color chips, we're just going to name each colorway underneath each CAD. And everything's going to be nice and aligned. And I just realized that wasn't aligned. So text is going to be nice and aligned using the window align tool, which I'll show you. And you're going to have play with filling with heather for the first time. Your textile print's going to come from your midterm, doing a solid color CAD for the first time. And then we're also going to play with some interesting fabric textures that come from the internet. Here's an example of one I use, which has a denim fabric swatch to it. And also anybody that plans on using any CAD that has buttons, I'm also going to teach you in this lesson how to recolor that white button into an actual color button that ties back to the color of your CAD. So multiple lessons here. Basically the requirement for this project is listed above. This header up here is not what's going to be on your project. This is just for you as a visual example of what is required in this project. You're going to have a top CAD and a bottom CAD, which is what you've turned into me and I graded on the Body CAD manipulation project. You're going to have one that's filled with a gray heather swatch, which I will provide for you. And you're going to take that heather swatch and do one recolor of that swatch, which it's still going to look like it's heathered. It's just going to be it's going to be a colored heather. The next is going to be a textile print, and you're going to pull that print from your midterm. So you can either pull your stripe, your plaid, your novelty print, and use that small scale layout that you did in your midterm project for your body CADs. You're going to pull that from there, and then you're going to do one solid color. And then under the bottom CAD, you're going to do one fabric scan texture, and this is for the bottom CAD only, and that's pulled from the internet. Your textile design is going to be the same textile design, same colorway as your top design, same thing pulled from the midterm. And then you're also going to do one solid color. It can be different than the top color solid that you've chosen up here. And just one thing to note, if you have any styles, any CAD styles that have buttons and or draw cords, like in the hoodie sketch, the buttons or the draw cords must also be recolored to match the fabric color. As you can see here, I recolored these buttons. So let's get started. Reason why I wanted to teach you this lesson is because if you look at any line, I want you guys to start thinking about merchandising and as well as design, where a lot of times when we design a sketch, we don't just design it in black and white. We design it black and white to start, and then we start to color it. And you can see here there's a bunch of range of colors in this one hoodie, and there's also a print design in two colorways. Same thing here for these shirts. So you have a couple solid colors you can see here. And then you have a plaid design, a stripe design, a plaid design, another stripe design, and each one offers a different variety of patterns and colors to the customer. And then down here, just showing you, this is a range of colors, solid colors, but this t-shirt also includes what's called a heathered fabric. So I just wanted to kind of walk you through those things, those lessons, so you can learn how to expand your range of not only your body CADs by doing manipulations, and creating new designs off of your manipulations, but also how to then take those black and white sketches, fill them with pattern, fill them with color, fill them with heather, fill them with a fabric scan texture like denim if you want from the internet, just to expand and to show you a full range of the next step of the process that designers go through is after they've designed a sketch in black and white, they then color it and fill it with pattern and color to show a breadth of what the collection line is going to look like. So first thing I want you to do is go back to your body CAD manipulation project. And if you turn this into me, you should have turned in one bottom design in your after sketch, one after sketch for your top design. And I just want you to work with front view sketches only. So I'm going to take just the front view of my bottom sketch, and I can click on it. If it's grouped, you should be able to click on it with black arrow and it'll select the whole thing. If it's not, just hover over it. Make sure you don't grab any words, and then hover over it with the black arrow, do a Command C to copy it out of your body CAD manipulation project, which was in black and white, and you're going to start a new artboard. File, new, and my computer's slow. File, new, and then you're going to start, let's just do a horizontal artboard, 8.5 height by 11 inch wide. Number of artboards is going to be 1. You're going to hit create. And I'll just get out of here because I already have an artboard started. And then you'll paste it into that artboard. And I already have my pants pasted in. So Command V to paste. So here I'll start with my pant. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'll probably design a solid color pant. So one thing, oh, also before this project, have your midterm project open at the same time so you can pull out the small scale pattern CADs that you use down here. We're not working with what's up here. We're going to use the smaller scale versions that you did down here. We also may pull some of these color chips from the midterm too for this file. And also I would like you to have a file called Clip Files for CADing. It looks like this. I've shown it to you at the beginning of the semester. Clip Files for CADing. You can find that if you haven't downloaded it for your personal use, you should, but it is found in Canvas, and you can find it under, if you scroll down under modules, you'll find it underneath week 4 because we used it early in the semester. Clip Files for CADing, zipper, stitches, etc. .ai. You can find it in there. You click on it, it'll open up for you just like you see here. It'll open up in its own file and its own artboard, and you'll need to use this later when we go into the Heather clip file. So just want to make sure you have these files open. Body CAD manipulation, black and white. You're going to have a new artboard starting for your body CAD manipulation color CADs. You'll have Clip Files for CADing file open, and you'll also have your midterm file open just so you can grab things from different places and have it be part of this new project. So the first thing I'm going to do is with this pant is I'm going to color it in solid. So that'll be the easiest step right now. So what I'm going to do, even if my body CAD is grouped, so I'm checking on it, it's grouped because I can click on it, black arrow, see everything's highlighted in blue. You do not need to ungroup at this point to color something. So if you need to just color just the body CAD, we're just going to take the lesson that I showed you in the midterm, which was how to CAD a body with pattern and color. Take the white arrow, click on your body shape. So take the white arrow and just click on the body shape, and that's the only thing that should be highlighted in blue. And if you wanted to double click and pick a random color out of, make sure your fill box is on top, pick a random color out of color picker window, and you can hit OK. It'll color your body CAD. If you wanted to tie it back into something that you did in the midterm, you can pull a color chip from in here, copy and paste it from the midterm, bring it back to your new assignment, and bring it over here just to use it for a moment, not to display it, but to use it to color my pant CAD. So before you would do that though, all of our color chips do not have a stroke color. So in order to not lose my stroke color on my body CAD design, when I fill it with this solid color chip, I need to actually create a black stroke outline around it. So I'm going to put the black color, click on the stroke box till it's up front, and then automatically window color will open and give me that black and white chip that we like to have. And that'll put a black stroke outline around my color chip. And I only am doing that so that when I CAD it in my body, it will not lose a black stroke outline. So now I'm going to take the white arrow and click on the body CAD. Make sure your fill box is on top. Really important that your fill box is on top when you're working with pattern and color. Then I can take the eyedropper tool now, and I can eyedrop on top of that color chip that now has the black stroke outline, and now it becomes a gray filled pant with the black stroke outline is still around it. You do not want to lose that on your body CADs. I do have to fill in the belt loops separately because they are separate group shapes from the body CAD, but I can click on them again with both of them with the black arrow, hold shift, and make sure my fill box is on top. And now that my body CAD is filled with color, or I can come down here to the color chip again, but now that my body CAD's filled with color, I can just click on the body CAD itself with the eyedropper tool and it will fill automatically for me. The next step I want to show you is how to recolor this button. I know a few students have asked me how to do that. So the first thing, that's when you're going to actually have to ungroup your design. So I filled it with solid color. I'm going to zoom out for a second, and I'm going to take the black arrow, and I'm going to do an object ungroup. And I was able to ungroup once now to be able to separate this button CAD. So do object ungroup once and then try and click on the button CAD, and if you are able to pull the button CAD off of the drawing, then you're okay. You don't have to keep on ungrouping. Now what I want to do is pull it off the button off the pant CAD for a second, and I'm going to do an object ungroup on those two things, because if you had the buttonhole and the button grouped together, which is what I've asked you to do, is have them be together as a set of two. You have to object ungroup them so that you can separate and pull the buttonhole off. Now the next thing is the button actually is what's called a symbol. We have not talked about symbols yet. So I'm going to open up Window Symbols. And under Window Symbols, you will actually see here, this is Window Symbols, you will see that there's a button CAD in there, and that's actually what we have here. If I click on this button with the black arrow, I cannot click on anything. Even if I tried to take it with the white arrow and select, like our white arrow is our dissection tool, I can't click on any vector point in here because there is none. And what a symbol does is it flattens the button and makes it look, then you can't see the vector points. However, this was designed with vector points in the beginning. So in order to take it back to that vector point stage where I can see the shape and I can see the points and curve handles, I'm going to click on here, this little thing, this little icon right down in here in the symbol box. And when you hover over it, it says break link to symbol. If you break it, look what happened. Now I broke it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And now if I click on it with the white arrow dissection tool, now you can see there's curve handles that made this button. There's points that made the vector points that made this button. So now I can actually manipulate it. So what I want to do now is color it to be the same gray that I have as the pant. And in order to do that, I'm going to take the white arrow and I'm going to hold shift and select those two rims of the button. So there's an inside circle and an outside circle. That makes up the design of the button. I'm going to zoom out for a second. And then what I can do is I can take the eyedropper tool. As long as my fill box is on top, I can click on the eyedropper tool in my gray area of my pant. And you will notice that the stroke line became super thick. We don't want our stroke line of our button to change. So I'm going to go to Window Stroke now. Move some of these windows out of the way. Window stroke, and all we have to do is take our stroke weight back down to 0.25. So all that did is when I eyedropped on this pant CAD, because we had a really thick stroke outline on the pant CAD, the button stroke lines also copied the same thick stroke line of the pant. And we don't want that for the button, so we just need to take the stroke line back to 0.25. And now we have a gray filled button. Now what I can do with that is I can now, here's my Windows symbol box again. It's attached to the align box, but just pay attention to what it is down here, Windows Symbols. Now I can take that button and click and drag it into there, Windows Symbols, and it'll ask me if I want to name it. Don't ever worry about naming it. It doesn't matter if whatever it's called. But the important part about this window is under export type, you have to pick the word graphic. And then you don't have to mess with anything else in this box. This is the only thing you need to do. You change it from movie clip to graphic and then hit OK. And now I have a gray filled button that again is a flat image. I could pull it around the page. There's no vector points on it. The only way I was able to get the vector points to show again is when I break link to symbol. So now I have a gray filled button. I could take my buttonhole back to it to meet it. It should be horizontal, sticking out underneath. And then I can hover over both of them with the black arrow and do an object group. And then I can bring it back to my pant and put it back in the place that it was before. which was on this, was centered in between the top edge and bottom edge of my waistband and close to the center front line right here. So now I have a solid color pant filled with a solid color button that matches. I don't need this chip anymore, so I can delete that if I'm done with it. Pull these things over to the side. And now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this same pant with one of the textile designs that I had in my midterm. So I'm going to copy and paste this pant, and once I'm done with my solid color version, I'm going to hover over it and do an object group because that color CAD is done. And I'm going to work with this one now and turn it into that plaid pattern that I had in the midterm. So I'm going to go to my midterm project. Here I am in my midterm project. I'm going to pick one of these patterns that I worked on, my novelty print, my plaid, or my stripe. And I'm picking from the body CADs, not the 100% scale above here. Picking from the ones that were already scaled below. So say, for instance, I want to work with this plaid. I'm going to copy this body CAD out. Copy it from the midterm, go back to my new file, my new project file I'm working on, copy and paste it in. And even though it's in a 5-pocket pant silhouette, and now I'm working with my body CAD manipulation, which is a different pant style, I'm only going to use this CAD for a moment just to copy out the small scale pattern. That's it, and then I'm going to delete it. It's going to not be part of this project. So in order to do that, I'm going to take the white arrow just like they did for the solid color fill. I'm going to make sure my fill box is on top. I'm going to take the white arrow now, white arrow, not black arrow, white arrow, click on the body shape only, so that's the only thing that should be highlighted in blue. I'm going to take the eyedropper tool, and now with my fill box on top, I'm going to click on the actual pattern fill that is inside my pant, the CAD that I copied from the midterm. And now, because that CAD had a black stroke outline around it, it kept my black stroke outline intact, but it just gave me the same small scale plaid that I scaled in the midterm in this new pant silhouette. And now remember the belt loops, if you're working with something that has belt loops, we're grouped separately. So you're going to take the white arrow, hold shift, select both of them at the same time, and then you're going to take the eyedropper tool on the body now because the body's now filled with pattern. So I actually like this button color, so I'll leave it there. If you guys wanted to recolor this button to match some of the colors in your new pattern, then just go back to the lesson I just showed a minute ago where you're going to actually have to pull the button out, copy and paste, pull the button out, the CAD, and then do the break link from symbol. So just do that same thing to recolor any buttons that you want to custom color. And now that I'm done with this plaid design, I don't need that CAD. I only borrowed it just to be able to do this small scale plaid. I'm going to then object group this when this is done. And now I have a solid color pant, a plaid filled pant, and now I'm going to work on a new lesson, which is to take a fabric scan texture from the internet. So I took what's a denim swatch and I put it into my pant, and then I recolored the button to kind of match close to that. So this is a brand new lesson. You'll do more of this if you just take level 2 of this class. As well, but I'm going to just copy and paste my solid version of my CAD. And now what I'm going to do is go to the internet. And I'm going to do a Google search. So if you guys want to work with denim, just type in the words denim fabric swatch and a bunch of fabric swatches will come up. What I will tell you is do never use any fabric swatch that it needs to look like flat like this. It can't look like fabric that's been folded or pleated. It has to be a flat fabric swatch as if it's laying flat on the table, or you can't use it. It also can't be something like this where it has shadow effects. You need a nice clean, can't be crinkled like this, so don't use anything like that. Just really look at fabric swatches where it just looks like a flat little piece. Laying flat on the floor. I also want you to stay away from denim filled patterns and anything with words in it. So if you have fabric swatches that have words in it, don't use those as well. I want you to think of this more of a solid texture that you're trying to fill with, not a pattern fill. Your pattern fill is going to be your textile design. So fabric scan texture, this is the one that I chose under Google. You have the option, if you have the option to copy image, right click copy image, you can copy image and then you go back to your project and you paste it in. So copy image, right click copy image, and then Command V to paste. Now you're going to take the black arrow and you're going to scale it smaller like we would do with our textile patterns at 100% scale. These fabric swatches might come in pretty big when you copy them from the internet. So you want to scale them. And again, I'm going for roughly like a really small scale. So roughly about a 20-25% smaller scale. And the same thing, just going back to the internet, what I really want you to focus on, if you don't want to use denim, that's fine, but I want you to focus on solid fabric textures. So again, no fabrics with wrinkles, no fabrics that are folded. You want a flat image of a solid texture. So this could work. Make sure it doesn't have any weird shadow effects where it looks dark or light. Stay away from patterns, stay away from crinkly fabrics or things with sheen. Just really pick a fabric scan texture, right click, copy image on it, and then just paste it in here and scale it. Once you have it pasted in to your project and you're ready to scale it, you scaled it, then you're going to open up window swatches. Window swatches, let me clear some of these boxes out of the way. Don't need those. Okay, window swatches. So once I have scaled my pattern, so remember to scale it after you paste it, you must scale your fabric scan from the internet. Scale it smaller and then click and drag it into window swatches, and it'll always be the last little box in there that you clicked and dragged in. Now that that's in there, I can take the white arrow. Again, I'm just gonna, like I filled every pattern, every body CAD, I always fill by clicking on the white arrow to get my body shape. And I'm always going to check and make sure my fill box is on top before I fill with any pattern or color. Now I'm going to find that denim fabric swatch that I just pulled from the internet right here in window swatches, and I'm going to click on it, and you can see the body of my CAD turned into a denim fabric swatch, which is pretty cool. So then I'm going to take, again, my belt loops on this pant. If you have belt loops on your pant, or draw cords on your pant, or draw cords on your hoodie, if you decide to do if you have a hooded body, you're going to have to fill those things separately because they are separate group pieces. If you have a pocket detail, that might have been a separate group piece, so you're going to have to fill them separately. So just click on them with the white arrow and then make sure your fill box is on top. Click on your denim fabric swatch. Now, if I want to recolor that button, just go back to what the lesson I just showed you, and you can just pick a custom color. You don't want to, on this case, you do not want to, I click on group. I'm going to show you how to recolor this one on a fabric scan texture, because what I don't want you to do is actually eyedrop on the fabric scan texture. You're going to have to pick a solid color for your button. So I'll do this quick lesson just for recoloring a button for a fabric scan texture. So object ungroup the button. We'll go back to window symbols. Window symbols. Here we are, window symbols. And now I can pull this button off, and I can break the link from the symbol so it's the same thing. Take it back to the state where it has vector points. Click on it with the white arrow until I can reveal the actual two rims together. Hold shift. And now instead of you eyedropping on the body CAD like we did to recolor our solid body CAD button, because this isn't a solid color, I don't want you to eyedrop on this fabric scan texture. And the same thing for the plaid design that I have over here. Don't eyedrop on the actual, anything pattern filled, I wouldn't eyedrop on top to get your solid recolor of your button. You actually want to pick a color that's solid for your button. So I'm going to just double click on here on my fill box, and then I can pick something that I think is going to be matching the denim color, kind of keep it nearby so you can kind of look at it and pick something that you think is going to match pretty good, or be a shade or two darker than the original fabric swatch. So you can kind of see that's going to be a couple shades darker, but I think that's going to look good. And now I'm going to bring the buttonhole back to meet it. Actually, sorry, I'm going to click and drag that button back into window swatches. That's the next step actually. And then I'm going to change the export type to graphic just like we did a second ago. And now I have my flat image of my symbol of my button. Bring your buttonhole back to meet it, and then you do an object group. And now I have an object group object group shape of a new button color, which is now this like navy blue that looks better on the denim. So anytime you're going to recolor your button on top of something that's not solid, like something pattern filled or fabric scan texture, just do that lesson separately. Just recolor it using the color picker window instead of eyedropping on the body CAD. So it shows you two ways to recolor your button. So now I have 3 body CADs, so I'm going to object group everything when I'm done. So just make sure you have 3 group shapes when you're done. They're all grouped separately. And then those are my 3 CADs. And I will do a separate top lesson to show you how to use Heather. So that'll be a separate tutorial. But to finish off the body CAD and to start working them into, the bottom CAD, start working them into what's called a staggered layout, is I'm going to take, now it's really important that these body shapes are all grouped, guys, before you start working in what's called a staggered layout where they start to overlap each other. So I'm going to take the black arrow, click on my body shape, and again, they have to be grouped, and I'm just going to start lining them up one over the other. And if you start to notice that one's hiding, basically the intention is to have one overlapping the other. Just do an object, arrange, bring to front. This is what I mean. So one leg is overlapping, the other leg is overlapping. So you have something where not one is hiding like this behind it. You want each one to be on top of it. So each leg is over top of the other leg. So that's what the staggered layout. So anytime you need to do that, just do an object, arrange, bring to front on any CAD that you need to have the overlapped layout on. Now, next thing, and I'm going to purposely mess this up so you can see what the window align tool does, is you're going to take the black arrow, and I want to make sure all three of my CADs are object aligned flush at the top. So take the black arrow, hover over all three shapes, go to window align, and now I actually have the window align box open. And I'm going to take my window align tool and do a vertical align top, which is the button I'm clicking on right here. And that's going to make sure that my three CADs are all aligned flush at the top. And then I'm just going to finish off the bottom part of this assignment. There'll be a separate tutorial for tops. I'm going to finish it off by naming the colorways of these pants. So I'm going to call this first one blue denim. And you can name it whatever you want, but I would be sure to name it something that makes sense to what fabric and pattern and solid color you used. And then I could take the text and make it smaller up here. And then I'll copy and paste that one word so that I get the same font and the same size text. And I'm going to just name this green plaid. And then I'll copy and paste that same word and just backspace over it just so everything is consistent. And then I'll just name this Dove Gray, which is my solid chip that I got it from. And then last thing you need to do under this CAD is take the black arrow, hover over all three words, go back to your window align tool, click on vertical align top, making sure that your words are all lined at the top, and make sure that you center each name underneath each CAD so it knows, so the name associates with the CAD above. So for your bottom project, I'm going to have you just do three color CADs. And as I explained in the beginning of the assignment, one's going to be a fabric scan texture from the internet. And remember not to pick only something that's a solid fabric swatch. Don't pick anything pattern filled, because your pattern fill is going to be your textile print design that came from the midterm. So that's going to be the pattern. And then you're going to do one solid color of your choosing. If your body CAD for the bottoms has a button, you're also going to be responsible to recolor the button to match back to whatever is happening in the pant. So that's going to conclude this one part of the lesson, and that I just showed you how to make your body CAD manipulation CADs, your after CAD on that project, and how we turn them into color CADs for one part of this assignment. I will do a separate lesson on how to recolor heathers and fill your pattern, your top CADs, which might have rib or other details on them, how to fill those separately in a secondary tutorial.